Hey, doing a Q&A video. Again, this one is pride related. So if you guys have any questions, um, feel free to ask down below or on any other social medias. Just make sure you follow all the instructions and my social media links are in the video description. Um, so yeah, but here's the thing. The rebel flag, from what people have told me, the rebel flag is seen as a racist thing. The LGBT flag is about equality. So there's that. And here's what Wikipedia has said regarding that last clip I showed you is what Wikipedia says regarding uh, the um, flag. Here's the thing. Wikipedia even says racism, slavery, segregation, white supremacy. Among other things too. If you read through it, the gay pride flag is about equality. This one is not. This was left on my video that I uploaded that really isn't my video, but is a video of George Floyd getting murdered. And John King, the person who left the question, left this comment as a way to poke fun at me through the death of George Floyd. You don't think I see what you did here? But I will answer your question legitimately. Why would anyone want to have sex with a pan? That is not what pansexuality is. I've answered it. Uh, uh, excuse me. That is not what pansexuality is. If you go back to my other videos, I explain it, pretty decently. But here's the thing. Not all of you have seen those videos. Not all the legitimate viewers have seen all of my videos. Pansexuality is not sex with a pan. If we break it down, the prefix pan means all. Pansexuality is you have a attraction to a person regardless of who the person is or how they identify as a person, which is different than something else. But I will tackle that when the time comes. You know, this actually reminds me of that, this question reminds me of that guy interviewing, it's an African guy interviewing somebody, and the person he's interviewing is standing up for gay rights. And the only question I remember seeing in the clip is him asking, "Why are you gay?"
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr.? Sure. Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good
having
morning.
me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
In a way, that clip, in my opinion, kind of humorously shows the ignorance of homophobia. But of course, it also shows the ignorance of the general population because of the fact that there's so much going on in with it, there's so much going on within the LGBT community. So that is the reason why I'm doing these LGBT specific Q&A videos, to try and not only help you guys learn with me, but to help me learn about everything that happens within the community. As I continually explain in every one of my videos regarding this, and as I've already explained in this video, a pansexual is a person who is attracted to a person regardless of gender or gender identity. This is getting old. I'm answering the same question over and over now in every video that I do about this. But I just have to keep reminding myself that the people who actually watch, who are legitimate, may not have an understanding of it, and this will help by getting it through so people understand it more. Pansexuals has nothing to do with cookware. It has nothing to do with pots and pans. It has everything to do with a person and who they are attracted to. A pansexual person is a person who is attracted to a person regardless of gender or gender identity or that person's sex. If you include all three of those in their own categories: gender, gender identity, sex, what have you. It doesn't matter what that person's gender or gender identity or sex or, whatever. It doesn't matter how they identify. What matters is the person's personality, in my opinion. Q just stands for queer, and based off of what I know, the best oversimplification that I can give you is Q stands for, in this case, people who do not identify as, cis or they don't identify as a trans person that falls within the binary. So basically, they identify as a person that's, or a person's gender in all right, in the mind of a person who identifies as queer or Q. um it In my opinion, it stands for, or from what I've heard, based off of what I've heard, in my opinion, based off of what I've heard, it stands for a person who does not identify as male or female, whether it's cis male, cis female, or trans male or trans female. They don't identify within the binary of male and female. It's kind of an umbrella term from what I understand. Or it could mean, based off of other things that I've heard, queer is kind of an umbrella term covering every person in the LGBT community, depending on who you talk to. Because trans women are women too. Well, that, in my opinion, is more than just a little bit offensive. I can I can tell the difference between um I can tell the difference between ignorance because of, like, how do I put this? I can tell the difference between willful ignorance and the type of ignorance that usually shows up in, like, Xbox chat, for example. And here's the thing. Though they may both be willful ignorance, there's more of an excuse for the people in an Xbox chat, which there's no excuse at all, in my opinion, for that kind of stuff, but there's more leeway. There's more leeway for an Xbox chat because most of the time the willful ignorance in an Xbox chat, and I'm just using Xbox as an example, I'm sure it happens on, like, the PlayStation and all that stuff, but Xbox is basically what people use as an example, so I'm going to use it as an example. But basically, when this word shows up in an Xbox chat, it's usually people trying to get a rise out of other people. I'm not saying it's excusable, but what I am saying is usually when this word is used in an Xbox chat, usually it's the person going through a phase, the person trying to be cool, or the person just ignorant. And the instances where it isn't this, it isn't one of those three, they turn into one of the people that were mentioned in the article. The Chicago cop called a protester a yeah, derogatory name for a queer person. It may not be as bad. In some people's eyes, it may not be as bad as the example I'm about to give, but that's only some people that think this. In a way, what this Chicago cop did, the word that this Chicago cop used, is in a way similar to the N word for black people. Regardless of whether it's as bad or not, the word that this cop used against a protester is still derogatory, just like the N word is for black people. It's just more accepted for a white person to use. I'm just going to say the F word. It's more accepted for a white person to use that F word than it is for a white person to use the N word. And I already know it's going to come up, so I'm just going to answer this question now. I will not say the N word. I already know that's going to come up because trolls, so I may as well get that out of the way. I'm sure you guys are getting just as annoyed with this as I am. But being pansexual has nothing to do with pots and pans. Although I think this, because of the backstory of this, I think this one is kind of funny. Um, Another YouTuber, Gothic King Cobra JFS, or King Cobra JFS, was selling a greasy pan on eBay for a while. I don't know if he sold it or if it got taken down or what. And they were joking around about him having a pan for me. Having said that, I'm going to remind everybody the word pansexual does not mean sex with pans. The prefix pan means all, just like bi means two, just like, yeah, bi means two, pan means all. Pansexual means attracted to a person from any gender, in my opinion, any gender identity, any gender identity, any sex, regardless of that person's gender or gender identity or sex. I can be attracted to a person for who they are. I can be attracted to a person who is, you know, cis male, cis female, trans man, trans woman, queer, anything. Doesn't matter what's in your pants. Doesn't matter how you identify. What matters to me is a person's personality. Well, a couple examples of what we could do within the community to make others feel more welcome, regardless of whether it's people within the community or people who are allies or, um, what have you. Uh, we could have things like support groups or um, more safe spaces, stuff like that. Uh, Now, support groups could include like the Trevor Project, which is a common support group a lot of people promote online. There's also Trans Proud. There's a few other um, support groups out there. Um, Trevor Project basically is a national organization focused on crisis and suicide prevention efforts among the LGBTQ youth. Visit them at trevorproject.org or call them. You can feel free to call them at 866-488-7386. Now, Trans Proud is a website for transgender youth offering a wide range of resources available for youth and educators, and visit them at transproud.com. There's also groups that offer legal assistance like ACLU, Lambda Legal, National Center for Lesbian Rights. Um, the ACLU works um, to extend rights to segments of our population that have traditionally been denied their rights, including people of color, women, lesbians, gay men, bisexuals, trans people, prisoners, people with disabilities, and more. Visit them at aclu.org. Lambda Legal and National Center for Lesbian Rights are two others. Visit them at lambdalegal.org and nclrights.org. Advocates for Youth champions efforts to help young people make informed and responsible decisions about sexual and reproductive health. Um, they feel like um, Advocates for Youth believes that it best serves the field by boldly advocating for a more positive and realistic approach to adolescent sexual health. Visit them at advocatesforyouth.org. And then, as for safe spaces, the most common one that I've heard of would be like coffee shops, but it can really be like anything. We just need places out there that are LGBT friendly, that do everything to basically abolish the hate out there and the stigma around being part of the LGBTQ community. So, feel free to follow me on any one of the social media links down below. Also, feel free to ask me a question on any one of the social medias. I am also doing video questions as well. If you ask me a question, like a video question, make sure you ask me, upload it to YouTube with the hashtag vlogmnqa. Otherwise, if you ask me down below in the comment section or on any one of my social media question or platforms, questions should include that hashtag. It's in the title, it's in the video description, all that stuff. Subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell notification.